aya tenteng natara bankole ba kono fa kenyo wala kankan be bije sa be bon filter fana member ko 12 inch set of 3 filter men yalo ko asi jiota aya dada aya senandi men se beta alla jata kenda to fana sotale CTO block carbon filter o fana mu filter timi yalo ko asi chemical o bonnino jiol kono le men se beta alla jata kenda filter member ko CTO block carbon men si jiola chemical o be bondi akono pour ka alla jata kenda sa hen nim filter sabol be kili wo kili na pansun doku na wata tankol fana sotale kabirim 500 5000 fokata 10000 liters plumbing fittings fana be mol bulle alsemol tarano sukuta highway mariama kunda johnson wala ismol kumandi 505 5691 796 8272 one stop water limited solutions inatale ka jiko be sonende gambia bank.
Good morning there. You're watching QTV this morning, and I am your host, Jenna Bosonko, joined by my co-host here, Aliou Cisse. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much, Jenna. It's a pleasure to be back.
Yangi casual today. Mota casual.
Wow, mora magisa early morning call because you tell.
Early morning call. Lum de def moy, lum man nahari lum de def moy dafa buga casual sañse def swat be pare duma ko inform. So man tamit léegi suba bu jot dama ekatu sama téléphone ne ko Aliou tey naka la tey fu ñoo génnee
dama ew ma gis sa call bi ma ba jaama
jaama rek bu nga xam rek fu ñoo folee rek xam nga rek ñu folee fii folee fële sometimes yes it is so thank you so much for joining us Mr. Mbodj. It's always good to have you here.
My pleasure.
Daf ma dee lii daf dee hide di sanse du ma ko dee wax so léegi suba bu jot dina gis suma call ma ne fu mu folee rek ma folee fu
ngeen coordinate
ñu So yes, welcome to the show, viewers. So we have the African proverb today, as usual. We have the newspaper review. We already introduced our guest here, Mamadou Mbodj, to help us analyze some of the stories that we have on the papers. And today we'll be looking at security issues and rampant car accidents, especially during the festive season. I can remember, was it last year or year before last, there was this serious accident that happened involving a police officer. I can remember, which was very, very sad. And at the end of the day, we had to do some sort of GoFundMe to support that particular individual. So I think when it comes to just road traffic accidents, it's just a collective responsibility. We see that drunk driving is on the increase and all of that. So the police PRO will be here to tell us how prepared the police is to ensure that at least all of us are able to have a happy holiday without hearing that there's a car accident here or some families having to mourn. That's not what we need during this period. And we'll be joined by Mamadou Gajaga. And Mamadou Gajaga will be having a conversation with Lamin Jallow of the National Squad. Beck.
Yeah.
So man xawma gaay so Beck su ñëwee ma xam ne kii mooy Beck man Assane Cissé ak Steve Tarawale rek laa xam man so tey bu Beck ñëwee ma ne ko yaay Beck mu defal ma autographe balaa moo dem and then on click segment STB Kama Boyo all of them are tuning in right now. Bu leen fi def nag tune in di jéem a skip di xaar ba ST time am jot da ngeen a seetaan newspaper review seetaan everything ngeen danka ko ak ñun bañ aaga fu ñoo dem
ST mu ngi toj dëkk bi
ngeen toj dëkk bi moom. So Ali, what's our African proverb?
Well, our African proverb for today says one who beats the drum for the madman to dance is also mad.
Okay, we start with Mr. Mbodj.
am ba xalal kilifa dafa baax xam nga ñoom mag lañ
waaw
so ñu ubbi bunta bi ñu wax ñu ñoom lan moo nekk seen gis-gis yi
waaw xam nga daf daan interesting nag su fekkee ne déglu nga xale yi ba pare then you walk in
waaw nga jëg wax leen
daf daan interesting like that yes this is also sort of like a interesting stuff yes, if I aid in any wrongdoing, I'm just as guilty as the doer of it itself, as it were.
Same thing came to my mind this morning.
Yeah, and for me, what comes to my mind is the people around you determine who you are. For me, the people you get to associate with, because at the end of the day, you get to validate them in certain things. So if you do that, then how different are you? That is my interpretation.
The idea that you are
similar to what Mr. Mbodj is trying to explain.
Yeah, she's saying the idea that you are the company you keep.
Exactly.
That sort of thing. Yes, but I think, well, with this proverb, we can put it in so many different contexts. You know what I mean? Sort of if I see somebody doing wrong, maybe you're my friend, you could even be my friend, and I'm on the side egging you on. I'm also part of that wrong.
Exactly.
You know, so this could be whether I'm in government, the way I deal with my kids, how I deal with my friends, how I deal with anything. So it can be applied in so many different contexts. Sure. So this is the key. Perhaps it will make us to be more reflective of sometimes our complicity, perhaps not realizing it unwittingly. We are complicitous in certain wrongdoing. Maybe this sort of proverb would make us sort of sometimes to stand back and say, look, I say that thing is wrong, that thing is wrong. I hope that I am not also not contributing, as it were, to its continuing survival, existence, and that sort of thing.
So
I
think it's a bit similar, really. Like the people around you, you have to take a look at your circle. That's why we talk about circle, your circle of friends. Because no matter what, your circle they have to have the same agenda, if not the same agenda as in career, but at least the same direction, the same path. For me, Mr. Mboch doesn't seem to agree, but
no, sort of like-mindedness.
At least.
That's the sort of thing. It's like-mindedness, not necessarily agreeing on every single issue.
But at least.
It never works like that. But broadly speaking, you're going in the right direction.
Yeah, at least, you know, if I have a circle of friends who would eventually push me to do certain things, a group of friends who would push me to go do my master's, rather than, oh, I'm just going to follow the job, you know. It has to do with just the vision that you have, having the people around you to push you towards it or to validate certain things for you. And those friends who, no matter what, will tell you, I don't think you need to do this. I don't think this is the right time for you to do this. I feel like these are the steps that you need to follow to be able to achieve this. At least if you have those people around you. But then, if, for example, politicians, most of the time, they do not have the right people around them. Sometimes the people they have around them do not validate the right things that they need to do. Instead, they're there for their own selfish interests. So at the end of the day, you know, those are not the people that you need around you, really.
That's quite interesting. There are both points. The idea that if you have sort of like-minded people, and we've seen this in studies in psychology, that when you, for instance, you have a group of people who are all ambitious, they want to do things.
Yes.
So they tend to be mutually reinforcing
each other, you know. Sometimes I know Ali will tease me. I'm classy. Do lolo. It's about yo. Nga try said. When, for example, when I got into university, my current friends that I have, for some reason, we just connected automatically because we do not have the same vision, but all of us want to see ourselves in similar places. Absolutely. So we were just able to connect gradually, and eventually we were able to push each other. Although there are certain things, fine, we do not discuss sometimes because we are all in the same profession. We know how that is, and we need to be honest about those things. But in as much as that, we have our own way of seeing where one is heading to, and then that motivates us to also head there. That is what you need.
I think that, like you said, it's important. I mean, you know, wherever you find yourself and whatever you do, it's always good to as you said, to be surrounded by people who can at least help, who can guide you, who can move you towards where you want to be. I mean, it's important. Like you said, most of us we've experienced the same. I remember when I was in senior school, you know, we had this group, 5 of us. You know, we also had the same vision. I mean, most of us, you know, wanted to, you know, come out with that good grades in grade 12 and then go on to become something.
Those are the things I'm talking about. And this also reminds me of how also me and my friends, all of us in our circle have been head girls before. It just happens automatically that everybody has been.
And like you all go to the same restaurant, eat pizza together, burger.
That has basically nothing to do with that.
No, but
I am talking about ambition.
In as much as you know, you hang around. Maybe you also go out to eat pizza, these expensive pizzas.
That's it.
I can't remember when last.
But that's one plank. That's one element. The other element is that these people that orbit around you, they must be able to tell you the truth.
Exactly.
Which brings us to the second point, the political point about the so-called advisors. You know, political journalists sort of tend to make a joke around sort of the ideas of what an advisor is and what a courtier. So you have these courtiers. So presidents sort of turn into emperors. And then you have all these hangers-on you know, forming the court. And those people, they will never really tell you the truth.
And sometimes it tends to mislead you, especially if you have people around you who wouldn't tell you the truth, who just want to impress you. So it's always a problem. They wouldn't tell you the truth. And once you fall into trouble, they all take a back seat. And in most cases, they pull head. They were part of it, but because it has gone wrong now, they all gainer by the Sibir. And like you said, I mean, this proverb is...
Yes,
and they're mad. You are a madman too. You're all mad at the end of the day. That's what this proverb is trying to say. And for me, really, that good friend, those people in your circle being able to tell you the truth, for me, it has to be them defending you behind your back and not tell you the truth in front of other people. That's it for me. They have to call you in a corner to say, hey, I feel like you did this wrong. Not in the midst of other people, but they can't just defend you behind your back and just tell you the truth in a corner. I don't know if you know what I'm saying.
The most successful politicians really have always had these people behind the scenes who would tell them the truth. You need a reality check.
Sure.
You know, when you are in power, sometimes where how you see things might be affected by the very fact that you are in power.
Sure.
So you need somebody who would take a step back.
Sure.
Who can see the whole contours of power, what's happening to you. He will take a step back and then be advising you. And then you listen, and he's honest with you completely. If you do not have somebody who would disagree with you, then know that you have a problem with your team.
And the person should not disagree with you in public. Because when the person does that, there might be an agenda, the person showing that the person is impacting in your life. So it has to be someone behind the scenes, like you mentioned, right? I think
these niceties depend on sophistication, really.
Yeah, but
move on.
That makes sense to me. Yeah, thank you so much for that, Momo Dumbuch, on the African proverb, one who beats the drum for the madman to dance is also mad. So we'll go for a short commercial break, and when we come back, we will head right on to the newspaper review. Do stay tuned.
Begin your SUV life. S-Pass Motors, the new authorized dealer for Kia. Visit us today or call us on 3522-222, 353-2222.
Welcome back from that break. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV this morning. So, Ali, due to time constraints, let's run.
Well, thank you very much, Geneva. Welcome back from that short break. I have the Standard newspaper here and the Progress newspaper. On the Standard, I have UTJ Gas, a new Vice Chancellor. Audit report on COVID response reveals millions spent without justification. And on the Progress newspaper, I have NPP's presidential election victory could be a cause of worry for sitting MPs. Yeah, that's what I have on the
So we have the Voice here. It says Drug Law Enforcement Agency. So 22 staff tested positive for the use of cannabis. 22 staff of the Drug Law Enforcement Agency tested positive for the use of cannabis. And Mada Cisse, sure of retaining seat in Parliament. And also, Gambians fear another lockdown over Omicron variant. And migrant boat missing since leaving Gambia for Europe. So that is all we have on The Voice, Aliu.
So, new Vice Chancellor for the University of the Gambia?
Yes,
absolutely. Someone you know very well, right?
Well, I wouldn't say very well, but I knew him at school. He finished Gambia High School in 1985 whilst we were there in Form 4 or something, and I knew his brothers, you know, Alpha Robinson of Nawek, the brothers. Absolutely, I'm dead chuffed by this appointment, especially when you look at his CV. I mean, he's been all over the place. I mean, in academia, done all sorts of research. In fact, in the end, he was heading an African Union specialized agency headquartered in Harare, Zimbabwe. That was where we got him and brought him here. So when it comes to experience in academia, working with the UN or international consultancy, he's done it all for about more than 20 years. And this seemed to be more sort of science-based, as it were. His first degree he got in quantity surveying. So we'll see what will happen here. This is an interesting appointment. So we'll see how the university can be transformed. The university is still a baby in many ways. It's still growing up. So we'll see what he can add, perhaps a notch, a ratchet up, and then we'll see what happens.
We've seen since the expiry of the mandate of the former Vice Chancellor, Professor Per Gomez has been acting as a Vice Chancellor, and he has been doing quite extremely well at the university. With the experience of Robinson, what do you think, what impact can he bring to the University of the Gambia?
Well, they can team up. I haven't the slightest doubt that before Professor Robinson was appointed, I mean, it was open, the position was open for applications. So they had to consider, in fact, the press release that we received, that we've read, they had to consider all sorts of candidates. And according to their opinion, Professor Robinson is the candidate suited, as it were, for that position. So they've given it to him. And when you look at his CV, it's a bit difficult to argue with that. That also contributes. So now, you know, the appointment has been done, and he seemed to have the right experience and CV. Then we see what happens.
It's one thing to have the right CV and experience, but looking at the current realities at the University of the Gambia, do you think he's going to find it so easy?
Oh, nothing is going to be easy. If you're going to make any change, you know, if you're going to impact on anything, it's never going to be easy. Going against the status quo, go and ask people who run businesses, trying to go against the status quo is like swimming against the tide. You will get tired. It's going to be quite a test for him, but this is it. This is where you distinguish yourself as a leader. You know, you don't become a leader when things are easy, everything is just going swimmingly, and you're just following along. You become a leader when you are truly tested by circumstances. Then you distinguish yourself.
Yeah, I really believe he has a huge task ahead of him. I've been to the University of the Gambia. I know there are a lot of difficulties, and you just said it right, that it is a very, very young university. There are a lot of things that need to be put in place, especially trying to challenge the status quo. And it just goes beyond him at the end of the day to change what is at the University of the Gambia anyway. So, Aliu, moving on, I'm aware there's not a lot of time today because we have a packed program. NPP's presidential election victory could be a cause of worry for sitting National Assembly members that are not under the NPP.
We said it here before.
Yeah, we did.
I mean,
and according to the article, it's history, you know. It's evident that most of the time, obviously, the party of the sitting president gets to have majority of the seats.
Yeah, we know that, we know that. So this is the prospect that one faces. But again, it's never too late, and just because it has happened in the past, doesn't mean exactly that it can happen in the future. This is where, you know, radicalism sort of comes into it. So the opposition parties must understand really their historical role. This is really a new era in many ways. The old order is gone. So now we are even the party that won is a new party. That in itself will tell you. So now they're going to have to reinvent themselves somehow to present a credible opposition in our parliament. Democracy works with a credible opposition in parliament. So it's really up to them. We cannot tell people do not vote for NPP. Nobody can do that. We cannot tell people anything really except to give you the information that this is our plan. So it will depend on what they do. If they come with a credible plan, I'm not sure how they're going to do it, you know, so that people will vote for them, fine. If they don't, if people think that they ought to vote for NPP candidates, they will do that. It just depends on how things pan out, what they do.
Yeah, Aliu, I think I agree with Mr. Mbuch on this one about because it has happened in the past that the sitting president gets to win does not determine it this time. Because this is based on community projects, things that you do for your community at your own level, putting aside the parliament, because obviously it's more of legislation, but looking at ward councillors, for instance, it's grassroots. So looking at it for me, I don't think really NPP's victory can really affect it, considering if you put in the right community projects and the proper community lobbying. I don't think people are just going to get a new person and put the person there in the name of NPP won the presidential election.
But one thing I can tell you is always important for any sitting president to have that huge influence at the National Assembly.
Sure.
Believe it or not, the NPP will go all out to make sure they have the dominance at the National Assembly.
True.
And judging by what we have seen the outcome of the recent elections, don't rule it out. They might dominate the parliament.
No. We are not ruling it out.
And it's important, especially in Gambia. We've seen under APRC, they were always dominating the parliament. When Barrow came in, we saw the UDP dominate the parliament. Perhaps because, Barrow came from the UDP, and at the time, it was so nice between Barrow and the UDP. And because of the many people perceived the then coalition government as a UDP government because they were dominating in the government. So in this case also, don't rule it out. NPP will go all out to make sure they have the huge influence at the National Assembly, because the parliament is very important for any sitting president. If you don't get the parliament, then I'm afraid you might not make it, because it might serve as an obstacle to most of the things that you want to implement.
Yeah,
absolutely, that must be part of their aim, to go and dominate the National Assembly. But here I'm speaking from the position of being an ordinary citizen and knowing how democracy works. Then it's going to give the executive a lot of power regarding what legislation to pass in the National Assembly.
And people do not understand that.
So this is the key. That is why sometimes when you see in US elections, I mean, the party that is in the White House, and then they try to play games with the Senate and the House of Representatives. so that they can have a kind of balance.
Because of the way we think, this is the president, this is his party, this is their candidate, why not? You know what? Just go with the government. That's the belief that people have.
And that's the lack of understanding we're talking about.
And also you have most of these MPs who go out there and promise people, I'll bring you electricity, I'll bring you water.
People do not even know the role of parliamentarians.
But this is really
but sometimes those are political.
But this is what the problem is. Because when you go and say these things to people, and then, the people will look around and see, there's the incumbent already. Who is likely to do that? He's got all the resources of state. Now, what do you have? Where can you get it from? So the psychology of talking to ordinary people, be careful with that as well. If that is the only consideration, they might as well just go with the incumbent because he's already in power and he's got all these resources, and we will get it.
If we look at whoever is nominated under the NPP ticket, will use that.
That's what they use usually.
Yes, I'm with the government. I'm nominated by the president's party.
It's easy to tap resources.
But this is the key.
I mean, that's common.
But
in African politics.
But you see why? That is why the electorate, we must grow up before our politics really will change. So this is the key. This is why we must look at where we are right now and try to deal with it. We have a direction where we want to go, but you know that when you take the average voter, average voter, let's be honest with ourselves, is not educated, really.
That's what I'm talking about.
Political,
that's where the lack of
having that political, acumen, that political understanding, it isn't there, really. Let's be honest.
It's not.
They know how this calculus of personal interest. Of course, that's what they do all the time. I'm not saying that they are irrational. They're very rational. That's what they use to know who to vote for. But again, when you look at the bigger picture, the direction that we want to go, they may not be as knowledgeable about it as we wish them to be, and one must acknowledge that. We can say that perhaps by not necessarily patronizing the so-called ordinary, but we have to be also realistic that absolute egalitarianism doesn't exist anywhere. It's just sort of like a middle-class left-wing fantasy about people.
And earlier on, you made mention of something which is very important. It's good that we have some sort of opposition in the parliament. People who will try to scrutinize certain issues.
Just to ensure that balance.
Exactly, just to ensure the parliament is balanced. But it's not really good for democracy to have the whole parliament just dominated by one party.
Precisely, Precisely. This must be our message to the people.
It helps in our democracy. I mean, it's good. Sometimes, you know, you have the divergent views in Parliament. I mean, like we have seen during this legislature, sometimes it gets very heated and then...
Yeah, I saw one in Ghana recently.
Exactly. So
exchanging blows, which is normal in Parliament.
But at the end of it,
at the
end of the day, it's all part of national development.
Yes.
It's always good that when issues are brought to the Parliament, you know, they are thoroughly scrutinized. I mean, and it helps.
Yes, so I think we have 5 minutes to go. So moving on, government to distribute TRRC report tomorrow, so people will be able to get it and read it and just to know what is in it.
Oh, absolutely. We can't wait.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's so agog to read that report. And then afterwards, what the president does as well, there are sort of two pillars, as it were, what is contained in the report and what would the president do. I think these are two questions that are sort of milling about in our heads now.
Yes, but he's given his commitment to implement the recommendations. So now is the time for us to see if that will be the case or not.
Well, actually, what he said was that after he receives the report, he will study it, and then he will get the white paper
with his technicians, as always,
and that sort of thing.
Yes.
But this is what presidents do with such reports. For us, all I'm interested in is what he is going to do and what would be his rationale for doing that. Then we'll move on from there.
Yeah, let's talk about IMF extending debt service relief for Gambia and 24 other low-income countries. What does this mean?
We've been lobbying for this. Remember, the president, I think, was the State of the Nation address, saying something
about
like that. Yes, all international agencies. There's been a concerted push, as it were, to have that debt relief. Yes, it will help, but it will depend on also what we do, what all the stuff we do, whatever we're going to save from that. I say, what are we going to do about it? That's the important question here.
Yeah, so another thing we discussed recently, Drug Law Enforcement Agency, 22 staff tested positive for use of cannabis. We had the official here the last time. We discussed this. Why is this happening? But it is good that at least they're testing. You talked about the fact that as an institution, at least they're trying to check. You know, they're making that effort to check and know what is happening internally, as 22 staff tested positive for the use of cannabis.
Yes, I'm not sure. Should we have published this? I'm not sure. If you have your rules and your regulations and stuff, just deal with it
internally.
I'm not sure whether this sort of thing, I will put it in the national paper.
But it's important that for me they get to publish this, because there's a perception from the public when it comes to the dealings of drug law enforcement officials. The last time the official was here, and we talked about how the public sometimes gets to resist their operation because they feel that the individuals, the officials they're working themselves are found wanting. So I think this is like an accountability mechanism they're trying to use by publishing
enough, just publishing?
No, you see, the thing is, all over the world, they have these sort of difficulties.
Yeah.
If you were to go to any department, just do a random test, you would be surprised. So this is sort of common.
But now it is the job.
This is common around the world.
But
how do you deal with it?
But Mr. Boj, now it is the job of the media to follow up, to know if these people went under any form of disciplinary action, right? Yes, now that they've brought it to the public, now it is our job to follow up on this, right?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Imagine doing a random test and the general is positive.
I'm just not going to answer. I'm just not going to answer that one. So yeah, so Gambians fear another lockdown over Omicron variant. Just this morning, I was reading a post in relation to COVID-19, and I saw somebody said that lockdowns are not the solution, because at the end of the day, lockdowns them itself is some form of pandemic. The reason is because of mental health issues that arrived from it, and sexual and gender-based violence, and all of that is even a bigger pandemic than the COVID-19.
Well, that's an opinion. I disagree.
Okay.
COVID-19 is epidemiology. The rest is just consequent. Something that arises out of this epidemiology, issue that we have. Yes, these are all issues. There's no denying that. The gender-based violence, we've seen numbers around the world and all the rest of it. But it's better to deal with the disease, the virus itself, so that we can tackle these things. You know what I mean? That's the root cause. The root cause is really this basic problem. When we deal with that, then the social consequences, what that person is saying, that these are social consequences. There are many social consequences of this, and then people losing their jobs. We've seen all sorts of things, and when you look around the world, what's been going on. So let us not sort of confuse things. Let us just send a basic message. We have to fight this virus. You know, the quicker everybody is vaccinated, the better.
But
so
here,
let's focus
it's
on
lockdowns,
not
on vaccination, like specifically lockdown.
The lockdown comes because of this new mutation. This is what I mean.
Omicron.
You know, it's the Omicron, and it's new. We still do not know much, except for the fact that the transmissibility is much higher than, for instance, the Delta strain, the Delta one. But again, it's beginning to seem as if, I was just listening to SAGE, this English group, this group that advises the Prime Minister in Britain, saying that it seems as if the severity, though, it's lower than the Delta variant. It seems as if, from studies in England, Scotland, and South Africa, it seems as if. So we have to look at it. One would like to think that our Minister of Health, of course, they are looking at all of these things and advising the politicians in the end who would make the decisions about whether we're going to have a lockdown or not, on perhaps what policy. They just only advise because the political consideration must be done by the politicians themselves. These are just technical people who advise.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Mamadou Mbodj. I know people like Aliou Cissé bëgguñ lockdown parce que campé rek la ñoo def.
Non, man dama lay campé.
Yow dama la dee gis dang dee campé. So yow sa maasi lockdown du la feebar.
Non, xam nga man amu si problème parce que man dama lay génn.
You're just saying that.
Dama dem lekk pizza.
What's wrong with eating pizza at the end of the day? Anyway, thank you so much, Mamadou Mbodj, for joining us on the newspaper review. Thank you so much for joining us on the newspaper review. It's always Indeed, good to have you here. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
So we'll go for a short commercial break, and when we come back, we'll be joined by the police PRO, Superintendent Lamin Jai, and we'll be focusing on security issues as well as car accidents during the festive season. So we'll go for a short break, and when we come back, we will delve right into that.
Looking for the fastest and easiest way to receive money transfers from abroad? Well, QMoney and Ria just made it happen. Now you can receive international money transfer from Ria directly into your QMoney account with no additional cost. Once you receive an SMS alert about your transfer, walk into any QMoney agent across the country to receive your payment for free, or use the money immediately to buy credit, QPower, and other QMoney services. It's fast, safe, and convenient. For more info, call customer care on 133. QMoney, Sunyu Kalpe. Terms and conditions apply.
Want it? Order for it and pay quickly using QuickPay on the QMoney platform. With great technology comes ease and convenience. Get a glimpse of what a comfortable life is with QMoney by dialing *323# now. Call 133 for more information. QMoney, Sunyu Kalpe.
I am the light goddess. Everything I touch turns into light. I am the light at the end of the tunnel, and my technology is the answer. I am the happiness in your life. I keep you connected, and I am QPower. I am QCell. I am Sunyu Boss. We innovate, others follow. Call 111 for more information.
Welcome back. You're watching QTV this morning. Thank you so much, Mamadou Mbodj, for joining us on the newspaper review. And now we're joined by Police PRO Superintendent Lamin Jai, and we'll be discussing security issues as well as car accidents during this festive season. I think it is a tradition that every end of year we feature you on QTV to raise awareness in relation to these issues. So just take us through, generally, how prepared is the Gambia police force to ensure that at least we'll be able to have a smooth and peaceful festive season this year?
Thank you so much for having us. It's like you have said, it's a tradition, and whenever this period of time comes up, it's important that the police come up with some security measures to ensure that the protection of life and property is definitely augmented. And so as a result of this, we have come up with an operational plan to deal with the security issues that will be emerging during this period, festive periods per se. And so this operational plan has details of areas to cover. For example, there are certain areas within the Combo area that are definitely inhabited by people, especially during this period of time. And as a result of that, security is boosted around those areas. For example, we'll have patrols around these areas, the Senegambia area, Banjul, some areas of Combo, all these places, to ensure that wherever people are getting crowded at a point in time, there is enough security also to be able to protect people's lives and their properties. Not only that too, but the traffic also is also very crucial and very important during this period of time. So the Gambia Police Force operational plan also has details of ensuring that traffic officers are at key areas to ensure that there is free flow of traffic. But not only that, but also to check on people who drive in certain ways that might be detrimental to other road users as well. And so we also have intelligence gathering also, because this is the period of time when you have a lot of people gathering together. And so within these moments, you have individuals that want to take advantage of these situations. So we are sending message to such a kind of people also to know we are going to have intelligence officers embedded within the crowd. So if you think you can go on snatching people's wallets, their phones and things like that, you are being warned, because you can be caught at any moment and you'll be dealt with according to the law. And also we have equally been able to put a robust plan to ensure that there is vicinity patrols going on within these moments, because we also have experience that when people are crowded at certain areas, the communities also are somehow left behind, because a lot of people that are within the communities will go to the Senegambia area or to the Westfield, to the Tabokoto, and so you have some people who take advantage of people's homes also to go and conduct breaking and stealing and things like that, which is why we are intensifying the patrols using the police anti-crime unit, the police intervention force, and many other units to ensure that all these things are being dealt with. But generally also, it's important that the general public also collaborates and partner with the police during the course of this exercise, because it's important that that partnership is very important in terms of information flow and also complying with the regulations. Because, for example, if you go to the Senegambia Strip on these days, you will understand that you have a lot of security barricades and checks and arrangements and guidelines as well. So we want people to understand it is not meant to harass anybody to say to you, oh, you cannot enjoy your New Year or your Christmas. That's not the purpose of this, but it is to ensure that there is an orderliness and everybody is able to go on.
But Ali, what is the message as well to parents, you see? Because at the end of the day, sometimes you see children at a certain age, you know it's not right for them to go out during that period to celebrate. So I think parents also need to collaborate with us. They need to help us in achieving a smooth, festive season, because children, when they're affected, obviously everyone is worried as well. So what's the message really to parents?
Very well. In fact, part of this plan critical aspect of it is the protection of children, because from over the years we have gathered experience realizing that a lot of children are being left outside, roaming around during these periods. And so it becomes the responsibility of the police as well to protect those children and ensure that nothing harmful happens to them. So this is why also part of our deployment we also put in gender and child protection officers as well to ensure that they also focus on issues of children during this period of time. But like you have said, importantly, parents need to be very vigilant. They also need to be very, very, very protective, because if you look at the number of children that goes out at this period of time, and what would they be doing outside? Really, these are all things that we need to be thinking about. And also, how long should they be staying outside, or whether they are even under the guidance or protection of any adult? These are all things that parents need to ponder deeply about before allowing their children to go out. Because some of these children, if they go out, they don't even know where they come from in the first place. And so it becomes a burden on the police. Even we have to have certain number of children, and we wouldn't know where they come from, and they will be with us for over a period of time before we'll send information out to locate their parents and have them reunited to their families. So importantly, it's good for parents to be very vigilant before they allow their children out. Let them ensure that there is guidance, or maybe an adult is even there, so that when it is time to go home, they can go home, and also ensure that they are being protected, but not just allow children to go out like that.
Earlier on, you talk about the measures being put in place to ensure, I mean, people are safe and properties as well. And then you talk about having your men on the highways to ensure free flow of traffic. Just a particular time when there are a lot of road accidents. Just recently, we have seen one that has claimed the lives of more than 4 people. What have you put in place to ensure that there is safety on the road, especially people who aren't even licensed to drive?
Very well. This is why there is a traffic component of the operation. This is to ensure that traffic officers ensure that the Motor Traffic Act and regulation are being enforced to the latter, and also to check on vehicles as well, and even the manner and way in which people drive on our roads. One thing that is during the peak hours of this period of time, traffic is so high that speeding might be a problem for anybody. But even within that interval too, it's important that traffic officers check and ensure that there is free flow of traffic. Because there are certain areas you have congestion that happens there that are just very unnecessary. And so the traffic officers will be deployed along those routes to ensure that such kind of congestions are averted. But more importantly also, like you have said, to deal with accident-related issues. But we also want to submit to the public that people need to also be responsible if they are driving their vehicles. If you know you're going to party, to do all these chill outs, I don't know what you take, what you don't take, then you need to make sure that you act responsibly and you don't go drunk driving, or you drink to the point that you are not even able to be able to judge. Your sense of judgment is impaired. Then you begin to go into a car and start driving. That is definitely something people need to be very vigilant about before even they go on doing it. So, but then, like it is a way of sensitizing people, so it's important that they take note of this. But also, even if they do this, at least it's important that you go out with a friend who is not drunk. Maybe if you think your sense of judgment is impaired, you can allow that person to drive you home.
And really, just the fact that you have a car, being drunk is just a no-no. There's no need to even, find an excuse for them to get a friend to drive them back home. It's just too risky. So let me just take you back a little bit on Operation Clear the Roads, because at the end of the day, if that can help when it comes to the free flow of the traffic and people having enough space to celebrate during this period. So do you think the Operation Clear the Roads exercise will be able to contribute to that? How successful was it? Because it's been a while since we catch up to have a conversation about this.
Very well. The Operation Clear Roads, at some point in time, due to some challenges, we have halted it for a while to allow the campaign period to flow, because of the fact that the roads will be congested with vehicles during the campaign period. So the plan is that immediately after the elections, then we will kickstart again to go to areas that we have not covered previously. So the task force is regrouping again to ensure that that kickstarts very soon. But importantly too, like you have said, because the road corridors are being occupied by shops and some market vendors and car sellers and things like this. Obviously, it is going to be very helpful if they remove these things from the roadside so that people will have the space to celebrate without being on the highway, especially to also allow vehicles to move about freely as well.
Yeah, so let's talk about acquisition of guns as well, and the
measures.
measures.
We have seen another incident in Lamen where, you know.
Yeah, but obviously with that, we understand that was a hunter. He has the license to actually get it. But obviously it was... Yeah,
it's one thing to have a license to have a gun, but it's also another thing to...
Exactly. But at least here we are focusing on the illegal acquisition of it. You know, at least we know it was negligence.
But even handling of that
handling
is something
as well.
that is also a concern.
That's why I'm talking about the negligence, you know, being negligent about it when you get it and you're licensed, you know. What measures are being put in place?
Yes.
Very well, you know, to a gun license, there are regulations that goes along with having a gun. To be in possession of a gun through a license, there are some checks that are being done before you are even issued that license. One of the very important checks is to ensure that you have a safe place where this gun is being kept, so that it is out of reach of children. In fact, the police officer have to visit your home and see where exactly you're going to keep this gun, and ensure that whenever this gun is there, it is restrained such that no child or any individual can get access to that gun. And you too, the individual too, you have to have safety precautions. You need to know your basic safety precautions. For example, when not to put bullets in the gun, when to put it there, and all these things. All these things are being checked before you are issued with a license. Okay. So once you are issued with a license, it is renewable. It is why the license is even annually renewed. So that at the end of every year, you have to go back and this check is done again. Okay. So that it is not as if there is lapses here and there, allowing you to go on with it for over a period of time. Because any of these kind of negligence could happen at some point in time. So that's why it's important for people to be very mindful. And then you talk about illegal acquisition. That one is illegal in the first place. You're not supposed to have it in the first place. So if you smuggle the gun in one way or the other and it is with you, and even if it is caught with you, that one is a serious criminal offense, talk less of if that gun is involved in any other situation.
So what happened with that incident in Lamen? Because you talked about the fact that police officers even have to go to your house to know where you keep it, just to make sure everything is safe. So what went wrong, you know, with that? Was that happening regularly around that area?
Before anybody is issued with the gun license, these checks are being done. And if you satisfy and fulfill these conditions, then you are being issued with the gun license. Okay. So once you are being issued with the license,
there's no follow-up?
It is expected that you are supposed to be able to live up to the conditions of the license, the terms and conditions of the license, because it is very well written on the license itself what are the terms and conditions which one is supposed to abide by and adhere to. So if you look at the situation at Lamen, you will realize that it's some form of negligence on the side of the individual that placed the gun unattended to. So especially the fact that the gun is a loaded gun and it is placed outside unattended to. So that is a situation. But necessarily all checks and issues are being done to ensure that the hunting gun is definitely protected from...
and now, coming back to the issue of the road accidents, I mean, I just want to know, don't you think it's high time we change the way we issue driving license to people? Most of the people who have license driving on the street, they don't go through the normal procedure. They are not even tested by the police. They just sit in their houses and there's somebody bring their license.
Yeah, and to further add on to that, we have this particular driving school that I would call a partner to QTV, because annually they invite us to go and cover their graduation ceremony, where Front Star Driving School, where normally before they issue the license, you have to go through a very visible, you know, testing and all of that. So shouldn't that be made kind of compulsory to other driving schools, just so it's visible and we know the person that they're issuing the license to deserves it?
Very well, the visibility aspect, I think that is something that has to do with the particular institution or entity to do with that. But licenses are issued according to laws and regulations in the Gambia. There are certain conditions you have to fulfill, certain documentation you have to fulfill to the issuing authority, and by virtue of your fulfillment of those regulations, then you should be issued with a driving license. A lot of times people say, you know, some people who drive on our road are very young people. They are not supposed to drive. They're not supposed to even drive. But if you're the issuing authority, somebody comes with a bona fide ID card with his age 18 and above, you can't tell the person, look, you are too young. I can't issue you with a driver's license because you are too young. Because the yardstick is for the person to prove that he is a citizen of the Gambia and he's 18 years and above. That's not the only condition, though. You've also got the person has to be competent driver. That test has to be done to ensure that the person's competence is being, skills is being tested. Also, the health condition of the individual, your visibility and your hearing abilities and so on. All these things need to be checked.
Are those things all?
Of course,
all those things usually put into consideration?
These are all parts of the regulation before you.
But are those regulations really put, you know, implemented by the police?
Of course, before you are issued with any driver's license, you have to go and get all these certificates and bring before the police officer, certify you to be approved to go and get the license somewhere.
But most of the students who drive around, you remember there was a time I was coming from Banjul, I even had to call you and say, Pierre, something's happening around Old Joshua, send your men there. Some of these,
but for that, parents,
many of them, many of them don't even have license.
Wow.
So it's definitely a big concern, which is why we always have to ensure that operations are launched to deal with that situation. We arrest a lot of children doing that, and even bring their parents and charge them for permitting their children to be driving vehicles. But if you look at some of those people, they don't have license. And in fact, what happens normally is, if they go to rent the vehicles or so, they use an adult person who has a license to go and pay for the vehicle, bring it to them, and give it to them. So you see that they have a way of evading this.
Why, Piaro, Aliou Cissé daal su ñëwee pour ut si license des leen ko bu baax xam nga waa jaaree du dee gaaw a am moto comme ñoom moto duñ ko dee gaaw a am so su ñëwee pour ut si license seet leen ko seetaat ko
ak fas lañ xam.
Thank you so much for joining us, Piaro. It's always good to have you here. Looking forward to catching up on other issues that has to do with national security, and wishing you a happy holiday as well.
You too. Thank you so much for having us. It's a pleasure.
Thank you so much. So we'll go for a short break, and when we come back, we'll be joined by Mamadou Gajaga. Unfortunately, we are unable to have Beck Lamin Jallow from the squad to join us here, but Mamadou Gajaga will be right here to update us in relation to what is happening in the world of sports.
With so many things to do in a single day, it's important to have a network you can trust. When there's family and friends to connect with and business calls to make, you need a network that is reliable and fast. Talk longer, browse faster, go farther, and roam wider. When your network is solid, the world is your oyster. QCell, your trusted network in the Gambia.
Begin your SUV life. S-Pass Motors, the new authorized dealer for Kia. Visit us today or call us on 3522 222 353 2222.
Looking for the fastest and easiest way to receive money transfers from abroad? Well, QMoney and Ria just made it happen.
Now you can receive international money transfer from RIA directly into your QMoney account with no additional cost. Once you receive an SMS alert about your transfer, walk into any QMoney agent across the country to receive your payment for free or use the money immediately to buy credit, QPower and other QMoney services. It's fast, safe and convenient. For more info, call customer care on 133. QMoney, Sinu Calpe. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back from that break. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV this morning. I'm here with my co-host Aliou Cisse and I am Jenna Bosonko. So now we're joined by our colleague Mamadou Gajaga, and he should be giving us updates in relation to what is happening in the world of sports, particularly Gambia making it to the AFCON and some of the preparations that are underway. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, thank you, Jennifer. It's a pleasure always to be here and talk about sports, especially Gambia. Well, our focus is going to be on the Scorpions. Just recently, the coach, Tom Sanford, has announced a squad. Initially, it was 40 players that has been trimmed to 28 players. And these players would be going on a training camp in Qatar, Doha to be precise, and they will have a friendly with the Algeria national team, and Algeria are the holders. They are the winners of the 2019 edition of the Africa Cup of Nations, where they met Senegal in the final and won 1-0. So that's a big test match for the Gambia. And if you look at the squad, it's been former under-17 player, under-19 player, Mamadi Camara, who currently plays for League One side St Etienne, who is included in the squad, but informations are saying that he is not going to be part of the team. He has declared that he would rather focus on his club football for now. There is another player included, Dembo Dabo, for the first time. He's been part of the friendlies that they've played. Even in Dubai, he was there, a part of the friendly international that the Gambia played against New Zealand, and previously also where they played against Morocco and Sierra Leone. So other players like Ibrahima Dabo, who plays for Roma in the Italian Serie A, and as well as Omar Colley, who's been the vice captain of the team, of course, Modou Barrow, who's a regular, who's been part of the Gambia's qualifying series in the previous editions. He used to play for Swansea City, now he plays in Japan. And we will also be having some other players who has been regulars in the team. And if you look at the squad, even these 28, at some point, it is also going to be trimmed to around 24, 23 players, which will finally make the AFCON squad. So things are getting on well.
The squad, notable absent is Ali Sow.
Yes, Ali Sow has been a player. Whenever you ask the coach, he said, I have plenty of players to choose from. There are so many of them who plays in his position. Yes, I'm not doubting the fact that he's a good player. But his excuse has always been Ali Sow has featured in 2 of his matches and has not done well. Well, I think if that is the yardstick that you use to judge players and their performance, you would be wrong. Sometimes national teams, you know, players would leave Europe and come and play for national teams, 1 or 2 matches. They've not have good matches. But, you know, subsequently they end up improving and become better players for the national team. But that has always been the case. For many, no, there must be a personal reason. But if you ask the coach, he said, we never had problems. In fact, I never had any encounter with him. But for the fans, he has to be part of the team and all of that. But the coach has the decision. He makes the cut of the players. He selects the players that he thinks are going to suit his style of play. And at the end of the day, if he leaves out a particular player who is not part of the squad and he plays a competition or a qualifier, he ended up not doing well, yeah, people can always point fingers. Yeah, the reason is because he didn't pick this player, that player. But also, one have to understand that not every player would make it to the squad. If you have 1,000 players playing around the world professional football, and, you know, you can only choose 20, 25.
Yeah, so Aliou, yesterday you mentioned that for you, judging from the squad that is supposed to go to the AFCON, it's based on reward.
No, what I was talking about is that we have some of the players that people are raising questions as to why are they involved in this squad by the coach. And I thought to myself, perhaps this might be one way of rewarding some of them for being part of the whole qualifying round and having the Gambia qualify. And for the first time, the Gambia is going to play in AFCON. And for most of them, this might be their last tournament in playing AFCON. And they want it to be part of their legacy. That's my opinion.
Okay,
yes.
so if
Somebody
are you
might
with the
have a
same
different
opinion,
interpretation.
Mamadou Gajaga? Are you with the same opinion with Aliou?
Well, it depends on how you see it. Yes, there are players, I would in fact include names. For me, I don't care about naming names.
It's normal.
Ibrahima Sohna is one player who, for the past year or so, hasn't been playing regularly in terms of having club football at the professional level or so. Yes, recently he played for Fortune and then, even helped them in their quest for the CAF Champions League when they played against the Moroccan team, and it was very, very difficult. Ibrahima Sohna, Pamodou Diagne has been part of the whole qualifying series, even the final day of qualifiers and all of that. And another player who also is being selected in the team, is Dawda Ngom, not been having quite a number of good game time for his club. So, if you look at the squad, there are question marks. But the argument also Aliou is giving, for some it's a valid point that these players have been part of the qualifying series. They deserve to be part of the team. But in the other argument is, you give players the opportunity to be part of the team that are playing regularly, week in, week out. They are in the top of their form, and at the same time, they are either scoring goals for their teams, and they have that match fitness and match sharpness. So it depends on which side of the argument. Do you give the players the opportunity to be part of the team because they've always been there, they've helped, the Gambia in their quest to qualify, or the players who are really in form for their clubs?
Okay, so I'm afraid that is all that we have time for. Anyway, let's just see. And like Mr. Ade said yesterday, he gave an example of the president calling to say Pele has to be part of
I can give you the classical example of Cameroon 1990. The player, Roger Milla, was never part of the squad. It was a presidential decree. Paul Biya made that personal decision that he has to be part of the team.
By force.
And he ended up becoming the best player in the competition.
And that was the same with Pele too, right?
The influence they have. Some players are very influential off the pitch. They are always inspired, the other players.
And finally, for the Gambia coach, when you ask him about Sohna, why he includes him, even he's not playing regular football, he said because he's a leader and I need him in my team. Likewise, Pamodou Diagne also, he says because they are leaders and they can inspire the boys who are in his squad. So for him, that is the argument. But football is about opinion. People can have opinions. Everybody is an expert.
For me,
Everybody
I'm not a football person, obviously. All I need is ñu indil ma ndam rek. Man loolu laa bëgg.
Ndam bu mel ni naka.
Assane Cissé ak Steve rek laa xam.
waaye loolu war laa bett nag jéem a. wala Gambian football. dañ ko yàgg a toj. ñoom Zico Cissé, ñoom Japo Cissé.
maa ngi remember Assane am na
benn. soo Cissé dañ yàgg a toj Gambian football. so xam naa moom. xam naa nas gën naa ko.
Cissé Kounda yi moom.
ak fii yi woon man ñooñu xam am nañu féem daal am na ñoo xam ne.
waaw moo tax xam naa nas gës buy ñëw si clic bi.
Ousseynou Assane
waaw moo tax léegi nag. nes gis bu ñëw si clic bi. dinaa ko wax pour mu def spécial song pour si yi rek.
pour gars yi
toj bi ñu def si Gambian
mu
football.
jeex tak waaw so Mamadou Gajaga, thank you so much for joining us on the sports update. It's always good to have you here. I know you're on leave. nga bàyyi sa leave bi ñëw.
waaw you know swag bi sax.
nga bilaay doo dee xam.
waaye yaa ngi foom de.
waaw man lifin laa di maa ngi young maa ngi.
time mu ngi yóbbu la train.
Anyway, we'll go for a short commercial break, and when we come back, we will be joined by Skengman Sweezy ak ku dëkk bi yëpp di xaar. mu jeex tak. Wow, let's go for a break and we'll be right back.
Want it? Order for it and pay quickly using QuickPay on the QMoney platform. With great technology comes ease and convenience. Get a glimpse of what a comfortable life is with QMoney by dialing *323# now. Call 133 for more information. QMoney, Sunyu Kalpe.
I am the light goddess. Everything I touch turns into light. I am the light at the end of the tunnel, and my technology is the answer. I am the happiness in your life. I keep you connected, and I am Q-Power. I am Q-Cell. I am Sunibus. We innovate, others follow. Call 111 for more information.
Back from that short break. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV this morning. So Aliou ñëpp ñi nga xamne dañ doon forward am na ñoo xamne seetaanu newspaper review seetaanu social issues seetaanu sports update buga forward buga xaar ba time bi jot yal na seen télé scratch yal na seen YouTube bi cang yal na seen mobile yi am low battery. Welcome to the program. Click.
Good morning guys. Good morning guys. You know, it's good to be around, man. I'm Skengman Sweezy and I'm with Gambian Finest today, man. I'm with one of the best artists in the Gambia, if I could say, man, of my generation. To be honest, man, with me in the studio, I have ST Bidika boy.
Hey, saluto, respeto.
It's a pleasure having you in the studio, bro.
Hey, my pleasure.
For real, man. It's been ages trying to call you here, but it's like, man, it's busy working.
Hey, but we're here right now.
We're here right now, man. For real, man. But first of all, let's talk about your lifestyle, bro. I want to ask this. This is my first question for you. Okay. How does it feel being a celebrity?
Well, you know, there are two sides to it, you know, like everything else, you know. There are advantages and sometimes there are disadvantages.
For real,
yeah, other times it's great, you know, I mean, you thank God for it. Yeah. Some other times you just wish, you know, you was just a regular person.
Exactly, bro. Yeah. First of all, let's talk about your achievement, bro. It's like, ST is crossing borders, man. He's crossing borders, man. We've seen the show you did at Bombali and Casamas as well, but these shows are massive shows. They are full of shows, man. Let's talk about the experience and what was the feeling like?
Well, you know, it was a great feeling because, you know, it's been years, you know, it's been decades actually, you know, Senegalese artists do come here through their own shows and we invite them, different artists, you know, like on different platforms, you know. And, you know, if we happen to have a breakthrough where a Gambian artist could actually go outside of Gambia to perform and do his own shows and people come and even fill up places like that, I think is a great win and a good start for Gambia.
For real, bro.
Yeah.
No cap on that. It's a great win and a good start from Gambia as well.
Most definitely.
You've been dropping videos, and you've dropped one of the recent videos before the one you dropped yesterday. That is Calculate. Let's talk about that video, man. It's making waves on TikTok and social media on YouTube as well, man.
And it's 220K on YouTube.
Yeah, less than 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah.
You get it? So let's talk about that. How was the concept brought about and how was the video worked on as well?
Well, you know, to start with the concepts, you know, okay, I tried doing a lot of different things on my album because I know different people listen to the album. So I try to make sure if you are not with this song, if that's not your type of song, you'll at least find a couple of other songs that that match your style, basically, you know. So with the Calculate thing, is all about the hustle. You know, it's all about the youths, it's all about, you know, the hustle, you know, grinding, you know, whatever you do, however you spend your time, you know, you gotta spend it productively, you know, try to gain something out of it because there are other stuff to handle like bilul nyanta yeah, exactly, you know. So we bring it in a dance form, but at the same time, you know, trying to direct people's mind towards that concept, you know.
Now, I can remember the last time Aliou came on this platform and I was asking, is ST working on any international collabos? And trust me, man, I was in the studio with ST and Pasali.
Okay.
Exactly, which is Gambia international collabos, bro. Let's talk about that. How was it like? Who hooked you up with Pasali? And the collabo, it was like, it was not really planned, but when you get to the studio, I saw the fire and energy, bro. It was a different level in there. Let's talk about that collabo you're working on.
Yeah, actually, you know, Pasali is a great artist. You know, he doing his thing, you know, in and outside, you know, he's well known in UK and all that stuff, I actually, I'm not sure if I could remember vividly, but I think we started talking on Instagram. He wrote to me, so I replied, you know, Gambia, it's all love, and then we pick it up from there, you know, but he is really a hard-working guy, you know, and my line of work and what he does is kind of on the same page.
Yeah,
exactly, you understand. So I feel like we got a lot of things in common. So when we came here, I wanted to have him on a song already.
Okay.
Yeah, and then after he saw, we decided to do
it wasn't mass, I'm not gonna lie, but Gambia, if that song's drop, it's a next level thing.
Yo, it is mad, and I wouldn't wanna, you know, spoil the surprise. Yeah. But there's more to the Pasalu thing. So let's just
so we're going for a quick music break by
Yeah.
ST. The song we're playing is called Calculate, and when we're back, we're going to talk about the album setup and the new songs that he dropped yesterday again. Let's watch this music video and come back quickly.
Ni man ko di soto bombala bilo le nyanta jola foi maja tarafita bembala ngo future le nyanta plana foi afa nga million o soto ko do le ka calculate. You wanna live like big baba want to profit do le calculate. Nga jama dan jama lendang jama yendang nga jama dan pour ko do kana manki wodo calculate to ta calculate. I see ntata dawda fonena bagu basina ntata dawda fonena calculate. Salary na calculate. Yenge dawda nata na kodole kamba kana wele werse maena calculate. Ela bambulu calculate. Bring kunumbo kana bobitilo brindiki maso kata posibito abeli doku chau akula chau akula doku chau akula chau doku chau. I calculate I nanga duplicate balance all up I elevate profito kontai agore.
That is Calculate, the song done by ST Bidikama Boyo. You know, I see Aliu and General vibing to it, man. This song is making waves, for real, bro. For real. Let's talk about this, bro. This is one of the songs from the album, innit? And you have a lot of songs that are about to drop from the album.
Most definitely.
Well. Yeah. Let's talk about the album, bro. How many songs are in the album, and what is the album like this year?
Well, actually, like I said, the album is different. Like with every album that I create, I try to, you know, I try to bring it from a different angle to avoid repeating just what you did last year and before that. So this album, if you look at the songs, the Calculate and the Keba Koto, it's like a different vibe. It's a different, you know?
Exactly.
It's like actually a vibe.
Me,
yeah, exactly.
I'm so interested
you know?
in the Keba Koto.
I'm
very interested in the Keba Koto.
I saw the Afrobeat, I saw the drill, you know, I saw the R&B sort of in it. I saw it like he has all the passion of music.
So this album is gonna be different, you know, and I believe we will still capture everybody's, you know, attention on it. Yeah, we'll be able to, you know, catch everybody's vibe in it. You know?
Yeah, and how many collabos, international collabos, are you having in this album? Let's split it
on
out,
this
bro. We
album,
need to know.
So I can't say that.
Well, we should, bro. This is a morning show.
I can't say that right now.
Okay, don't call names, but just give us the amount.
Yeah, but say a couple.
A couple of collabos, international collabos.
Yeah.
But Buba, I think you should ask him the motivation behind Keba Koto.
Exactly.
Right?
It was something I really wanted to ask as well, you know, because you didn't only target the youth as well. We saw elderly people in the video, people that were making waves in the Gambia and still doing it big in the Gambia. They were portrayed in the video as well. So how do you combine all that together and work on the song and video?
Well, you know, shout out to the Bolong Dala team. You know, the group is called Bolong Dala.
Yeah.
You know. Actually, they've been very supportive. You know, I think this video was the second time me and them worked together. You know.
Yeah.
But with the song, it comes in two ways for me. You know, come like you say Keba Koto. You know, like that. Come in general Kemuka Koto. You know, as in. but then I know you understand that. Yeah, exactly. You know,
we have means
ani musu aka different ne kilka tale for certain level you know still be actively se kudol keno compared to muso and that at the same time but at the same time on the other side you know like until a generation or nimble music start nyola like I could hardly count most of them be active ring right now malon for come feel so in that way in the form ke ba kotol you know game ko no malon for ka anon ke ba kotol mo kanya mo tinya no diam clear la hani sai you know
now let's talk about the album 5th February bro. Let's talk about it. What should people expect and what is so unique about next year's album launching that people should be like, yeah, we need to attend, this is our own made ST?
First of all, we are trying to improve on even the stage setup. We're trying to have something completely different from the regular years. And sometimes it's easy because it's hard to find sponsors. You have to do everything
on your own.
Yeah, for real. You know, sometimes you do. You know, shout out to some of our sponsors that have been helping year in year out. Yeah, but most of the time, after coming big here, our funds also that it would be so amazing. Yeah,
I believe.
But then
was cheap in this time.
Yes, we have fans. Minu kabo base ka trokol leta na all along you know ka travel kana jam fans global be dulal to yalana and stuff like I got people in customers that will be coming you know like for the shows and stuff like that. So with that nka try le fanang ticket all reasonable in because fans will be like support ke for mul mil rita for minul porta but we want ST is the man of the people. The show is for the people. So lafta reasonable mindela mobe na fanang and stuff like that. But then in return, we wanna adjust on na setup bang with the sound system, even with the performances. Yeah. So we are not just trying to have a successful show, but try to something different. Ke fans will fanang yena let them see something. Me alonko it will make them wanna come next year.
I'm sure it's gonna be a matter. I can tell by the feelings, man. It's gonna be something different.
And Buba, I think one thing that is really catching my attention lately with ST song has to do with bringing in dance. Previously, it's just the Gambian there, you know, just singing. But now with the dance in it, it's more unique. International.
You gotta blend.
You know, it's so international. You know, so how did that come about as well?
Yeah, like I said, if you go to a show, you don't just want to do serious songs and everybody is looking at you. People want to be entertained. So as much as you spread the message, you know, you could always do it in another way around that people could have fun. It's music, it's entertainment, and we want to entertain our fans.
For me, to be honest with you, I've been following ST's musical career. I've done some pieces on him back at the Daily Observer when Modu Sabali was there. I mean, with Scotch and others. One thing that really amuses me about this young man is his consistency. I mean, he is so unique. I mean, ST is so original. Whatever he does, he do it differently. And unlike other artists that I've seen, I mean, every time when they come on the show, it's the same songs. You hear them repeating. I'm like, what is the sense of you going to the same show when it's the same songs you keep hearing? I mean, every year when he goes to the stadium, it's new songs, new hits. I mean, what is keeping you moving?
I mean, I have passion for music. When I started music, it wasn't like I wanted to be an artist, you know. I was just doing it for fun. I was pretty smart in class, you know.
Yo Nusrat nga jange, yo ku what do you expect?
We are not talking about Nusrat.
I don't.
But I was at least a little bit smart, more focused on class. You know, I could really be working somewhere else differently, you know, like towards what I wanted to be before. Because accountant lab when I was doing accounting, but I have passion for music, and I followed my passion for it, and you know, it became a part of me. You know, so there's not really any struggle in it, you know. And with the music, I try to be myself. I don't like I do listen to other artists, of course, a lot of artists. I don't have one person that I listen to. I randomly listen to music, but when I make music, I try to make my music. Me personally, based on what I think, what I feel. Usually, I don't really care if okay, this is right, this is wrong. I keep telling my producer, I don't know what is wrong, what is right. Let's just make good music that people could listen to. I don't want to be limited to barriers. Oh, this is what you do, this is what you do. I know what I do and I know what I give, you know. So I try to make it original and realistic as much as I can.
So
Yeah.
And yesterday, I took to social media myself, you know, and I have fans from all over the Gambia sending me questions for you, man. And the questions are amazing. So this one is from Mariama Cisse, the former news anchor here at QTV, actually. She's now in Dubai, actually. She said, let me ask you this question. Are you planning on investing into any other business as other American artists are doing as well?
Yeah, actually, of course. I'm investing into other
Mariama Sane?
Mariama Sane, sorry.
Yeah.
Usually, yeah, of course. You know, like to start with this year, I'm officially, next year, sorry, I'm officially gonna start my studio.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, and it's not really gonna be a label because we're gonna be doing recordings, videos and stuff, but I wanna give back to the artists as well. So a lot of upcoming and young artists are gonna be having free time sessions.
That's a good
at
move,
the studio as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're working on a sound system too, but just because, you know, I'm not saying
My
it doesn't
guy
mean
is
I don't
trying to
really
go
invest in
legit
anything.
Yeah.
Legit. So this one is from Escaper, all the way from Brikama Kabafita. I believe he's a brother. He's a younger brother.
Escaper, yes, I know.
So he said I should ask you, where are you taking your money to?
Yes.
Where is he taking his money to?
Yeah. He said, what are you doing with your money?
Well,
you mean the millions, right?
Well, it's life, you know. You get a life. You got family.
Exactly.
You got a family. I mean, you got a house to build. You got business.
You have investments to do.
You got a son.
So easy.
And you have to give back to the community too.
For real.
Yeah.
And
With the ST Foundation.
we have a lot of things.
Yeah.
He's doing great as well.
Yeah.
And this one is from my own brother, actually, Mustafa Fati.
Yeah.
He said he's a big fan of yours. He's not really a question. He's saying you need to go check his academy that he's having at UNDIM because they're doing great. And he said he believed if you go there, you're going to impact so many kids that are working with him as well. So he said I should relate this message towards you. Like he's a big fan and he likes your music as well. You know, and this other one is from Dems. Dems from Brikama, actually.
Okay.
He said, is there going to be any live band or is just a playback in next year's event?
Well, I cannot certainly say that, but even if there's going to be a live band, it might just be for a specific, you know, song. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, not the entire thing, you know.
And now let's talk about.
The thing is, with the luncheon, we perform a whole lot of. Last year, I remember it was at least 1 hour, 30 minutes performance to 2 hours.
Yeah.
You know, you cannot get the band to play all those songs.
Yeah.
It's
Exactly,
well.
you know.
It's kind of tiring.
Yeah.
I think Aliu has a question.
Okay,
Aliu,
Aliu,
what's
your
your
question?
question?
My question is, you're undoubtedly, you know, one of the best we have at the moment. How is your relationship with your fellow artists in this country?
Well, you know, to me personally, I'm cool with all the artists. You know, when I'm invited to a show, I go if I can. You know, I communicate. You know, I reach out to artists. I'm not the type that would really be aware of my status, like, oh, I'm this, you know, like, yeah, it's never been my lifestyle, you know. So I'm really cool with all the artists.
Why you yow do they collaborate ak artists yu ndaw? Comme upcoming artists yu ndaw yi, comme do they collaborate ak guy?
Well, okay. To tell you the truth, lu ñu wara understand, artists yu bari ñoo dey reach out.
Okay.
Yeah, I understand. You'll be surprised, artists you dey reach out for collabo, say in a year, mun na mut 50. Yeah, I understand.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, and all of these artists are different. You know, the problem is, man, dama dey work ak artists, musuma am label, but, you know, dimile na some artists, work na some artists,
I can tell,
some
not
platform,
easy, ball,
yeah, and all that stuff.
Wow.
But, you know, like, I jump on a sound that I feel exactly, yeah.
Okay.
It's not just about being on any song for me. You know, I want to feel the song, I could relate to it, and then I could jump on it. But most of the time, when I have other projects too, when a whole lot of, some of them, then they just send bopa dal, you know, because you don't they send a project, why you hamulo nyata ni tak send kuku send project. Yeah, I understand why kuku munuta jumps a sound because of a whole lot of reasons, but yang ko jel personally. But with the young artists, upcoming artists, like naga hamne, but it's never been easy from the start. When I started first, I swear down, I wanted to do a song with Jalex. Jalex me overhit on Munuma. I tried to do a song with him, Munuma. But one thing about me, from the start, if I cannot get anything, I'm like, look, man, my job, but I need to work harder.
That's it.
Well,
Okay.
I
think we have a minute.
We're running out of time.
Yeah.
Like, since you started your music career, is there any point that you got talking? I just have to let go. Let me go and do something else. Any point. Lo mun a fàttali nga me talk rek nga ne I think I just have to let go.
Yeah, of course, so many times. You know, in the industry is hard. Sometimes artists get treated, you know, unjustly, you know. You feel that in your own way. Sometimes, you know, you feel, I should have been here, I'm not given the chance, the opportunity and all that stuff, you know. So those are things that push you down, especially when you feel you're working so hard to be on platforms like that, you know. But then, you know, at the end of the day, it's just working hard. You will get whatever you want.
We out of time.
No, but freestyle.
Before I take a leave with you, man, Esti, you need to visit Big Sang and Sister Fashion Shop.
Well,
they made this for me, man. I look fresh. To be honest, bro. And second, my shoe, Tafa. Donald Sumadala B-boy.
Jordan.
And shout out to my shoe plug man as well. You can call Plug Gang on 335-8835. Call him. He's gonna get you something.
Ali,
like
I
this,
think
man.
we should join them for
and
this
my outfit.
Yeah, you're right, huh?
Call Big Sam on
Come
397-3856. You guys come join us.
Hey, no. Then go have my freestyle. No, Jennifer. Then go have my freestyle.
Yeah.
After Keba Koto Bina.
Exactly.
Wow.
So what you wanted to say?
I have to give special thanks to Miss B, you know, Miss B Fashion, and you know Tijania Fashion ST Creation, because with the Keba video, they actually helped us with the outfits and stuff like that.
And the trouser I'm wearing is from Miss B, actually.
Exactly.
Come on here, come join us in here.
So
let's go with the freestyle.
Freestyle, and then we go to Keba Koto.
I see ya. Pensono TJ pensono karfa kanale doku jaw tine domon me pareri ne ka fo samale me fala barka luolum balula fa e pati doron simaya adua jabu fokoto koto adia sabu fasoto nasilu moto na chabu daraju baraju na life for example why I'm a dog
hey koto mari koto Keba Koto
let's go with it, man. From our end we saying bye Keba Koto on the way, man.
jox leen ñu ko may leen ñu ko
iko konkoto muru koto le konkoto kuto koto bala koto Keba koto le kuma koto kuma koto fori koto ninzila koto sate koto la rapa kuto ni la rapa koto la moto kota malu fokoto chokon fokoto koto ninna doko njube na kayoko I'm a dos, I'm a tres, I'm a chacha. Rapal bepon dingol, lanin do, lanin jokol. Rapal fomu ringol, mama ringol, lanin dingol. Ikoto, fanam koto. Keba, koto, bora, koyo, manyo, kuto, inding, merek. Keba, koto, bora, koyo, manyo, kuto.
bu ne yelloo na ndox mu set te ndox mu set dafa bokk ci dunni doomu aadama te biir kat amul seetu waral na lépp lu fay dugg dafa war a doon li nga xamante ne ni lu indil doomu aadama bi loraange ci wàllu wérugu yaram One Stop Water Solution Limited ñu ngi fii ci biir réew taxaw temm fexe pour gis ne doomu aadama bu ne di nga naan ndox moo xamante ne ni ndex mu sell te wóor la ndax indil nañ leen ay xeetu filtres yi nga xamante ne ni mun ngeen koy jëfandikoo ci seeni pompe yi ci biir réew moo xam booxool ngay jëfandikoo wala pompe nawek yi ne bépp xeetu filtre bi nga xamante ne ni dina la indil wérgu yaram musal la ci loraange amal nañ leen ko ci biir réew am nañ 10-inch filter set of 3 bii nag ñett lay àndal bu ci ne ak li muy liggéey bokk na ci 5 micron pp sediment filter bii nag mooy segg ndox mi ba mu set génne fa lépp li nga xamante ne ni warta ànd ak ndox moomu bala nga koy jëfandikoo gat granule carbon filter bii nag mooy segg génne lépp lu xeetoog chemical ak organique yi nga xamante ne ñoom ñoo nekk ci biir ndox mi sellal ndox mi ba waral mu soppi li nga xamante ne moom la ndox mi di saf mu soppi cafin gi def ko ndox mu sellate óor CTO block carbon filter bii nag du yem rek ci segg ndox mi sellal ko ba mu sell waaye nag daf koy yokk ay ngéneel yi nga xamante ne ni day baax ci wérgu yaramu doomu aadama bi dëgëral waaye tamit yàgg
yàggal lool sa yuur wi am nañ tamit 12-inch filter set of 3 boobu it liggéey bu nu mel lay def ñetti filter yépp benn bu ne ak lu muy liggéey am nañ 10-inch post carbon 10-inch coconut carbon 75 GPD pure one membrane bi
amal nañ leen bépp xeetu water tank tàmbalee ko ci 500 litres 5000 ba ci 1000 litres ak plumbing fittings
kon nag mbokk yi bu ngeen buggee naan ndex yu sell te wóor seeti leen One Stop Water Solution Limited suñu makkaan bu mag baa nga foofa ca Sukuta Highway Mariama Kunda Johnson wala nga call ñu ci 505 5691 796 8272 One Stop Water Solution Limited ndox mu set mooy yàggal dund ni doomu aadama bu ne